There's a question that haunts every generation, one that sits at the heart of human existence, a paradox that challenges our understanding of freedom, morality, and the nature of choice, one that offers no easy answers. But what if I told you that the existence of evil might actually prove that we are truly free, that the cost of all the pain and suffering we witness in the world isn't meaningless, but the price of something far more valuable, free will? I ran across this concept myself not too long ago, tucked in the pages of one of C.S. Lewis's books, Mere Christianity. It wasn't something I expected to find, but the idea stuck with me. It challenged how I thought about what it means to live in a world where we are free to do both harm and good. That's what brought me here to this moment, and maybe in some way what brought you here too. So let's start with that question of what did bring us all here today. Is evil the price of free will? A more in-depth way to say this would be, is the ability to choose your actions real if you are not free to choose wrong? I know what you're most likely thinking, what an outlandish claim, unfounded even, it's simply a stretch trying to justify the unjustifiable. But the idea that evil is the price of free will has been debated for as long as humans have contemplated the nature of freedom. Questions like these have long stood at the heart of philosophical and theological debates, turning cogs in the minds of great thinkers for centuries. One such thinker was St. Augustine of Hippo. In St. Augustine's book, Confessions, way back around 400 AD, he wrote, "I was told we do evil because we choose to do so of our own free will, and suffer it because your justice rightly demands that we should. I did my best to understand this, but I could not see it clearly." This moment in Confessions is a powerful one. It reveals that even great philosophical thinkers like Augustine struggled with this concept, one that we still struggle with today in a modern world. He too couldn't understand why we suffer evil if God is just, but he also believed that evil came from our own choices, not from God. One of the most influential developments of this idea came from the 20th century philosopher Alvin Plantinga. He first introduced this concept in 1965 and later published his finalized argument in his 1977 book, God, Freedom, and Evil. This idea became known as the free will defense, a philosophical argument that attempts to reconcile the existence of evil with the belief of an all-good, all-powerful God. Plantinga argued that even an all-powerful God couldn't create a world where people are free, but only ever choose to do good. If we are genuinely free, then we must have the capability of choosing evil as well. Otherwise, our choices wouldn't be our own, they'd be predetermined. The free will defense doesn't claim that God wants evil to exist, rather that it is a necessary risk, one that Plantinga views as worth the cost. As Plantinga puts it, a world containing creatures who are significantly free and freely perform more good than evil actions is more valuable, all else being equal, than a world containing no free creatures at all. Now, God can create free creatures, but he can't cause or determine them to do only what is right, for if he does so, then they aren't significantly free. After all, they do not do what is right freely. Plantinga's argument reframes evil not as a contradiction to God's nature, but as a consequence of valuing human freedom. Of course, not everyone agrees with Plantinga's take on free will. One of the most well-known critics of the free will defense was philosopher J.L. Mackie. Mackie's 1955 essay, Evil and Omnipotence, was one of the contributors that drove Plantinga to create his free will defense. Mackie believed that ideas like Plantinga's defense failed to resolve the logical problem of evil. He believed that if God were truly all-powerful, he would be able to create beings who are free, yet always choose good. In Mackie's view, the idea that free will can only be attained with the consequence of evil is inherently flawed. In response to critics against Plantinga, Stephen T. Davis published his article, A Defense of the Free Will Defense. Davis adamantly reinforces Plantinga's argument, backing up his ideas by stating that, so if in the moral decisions he makes, Adam is always free either to choose the good or the evil, God logically cannot ensure or guarantee that Adam will always choose the good. If God creates Adam such that Adam will always choose the good, Adam is no longer free to choose the evil. What Davis is saying is that true freedom requires the real possibility of choosing wrongly. If God were to determine that someone always chooses good beforehand, then their choices would no longer be their own, and their freedom would then be compromised. But why do we care so much about free will? Why have we been debating about it for centuries? Why do we care so deeply about the topic? The answer lies in what free will gives us. It gives us the ability to choose, to love, to forgive. We encounter it in the sting of betrayal and injustice, as well as in the courage of sacrifice and love freely given. In C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity, Lewis puts it like this: free will, though it makes evil possible, is also the only thing that makes possible any love or goodness or joy worth having. That's what makes it worth it. That's what makes us human. Would you trade your freedom for safety? Would you willingly surrender your right to choose, your ability to love, to forgive, and to stand for what is right if it meant you would never have to face pain and suffering again? But then again, was it ever truly your choice if you gave up the right to make it?